What's happening, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back to Junkdrummer TV, where I give my initial reactions, my analysis, and my hot takes on the drummers of today and yesterday, and maybe tomorrow if I stick around that long. I'm a professional drum teacher and a gigging musician, and I have been for the last 20 years. On today's episode, we're going to be watching Meytal Cohen playing with her band, Meytal. Now, comment section, before you blow up, I found out how you actually say it. We've all been saying it Meytal, but I checked out an interview, and it's actually said Meytal, so I don't want to hear it from you commenters. Miss Cohen has a very 21st century story of how she became famous. She became famous being a YouTuber. I found out about her because I was teaching chop suey, and there was a section in there, and I couldn't remember or couldn't figure it out, and I searched for, chop suey drum cover, and she came up. Being someone who has been in a few different bands who have kind of operated on the outskirts of the music business, and someone who's been on more than one conference call with record label types, it's so refreshing to see someone take their career in their own hands and not have to depend on a traditional music business record label A&R type road and just skip all that and go straight to YouTube. I admire her for that big time. She started out as a cover drummer. There's a lot of really good ones on YouTube right now. Luke Holland, Matt McGuire especially. For me, she kind of seems like the first one, maybe because she's the first one that I noticed. Later on, I will be giving a hot take about the importance of learning covers note for note like she did. With all that being said, please feel free to like, comment, and share. Give me a double tap on the subscription and the notification bell, and let's get into it. Yeah, playing kind of a tricky thing right here. She's playing eighth notes with her right hand and running triplets underneath. That's a little tricky. Actually, that's a little bit more than just tricky. She has such beautiful technique. Woo! Man, that's a cool groove, man. Okay, so I use videos of her and Steve Smith specifically when I'm trying to show students what good technique and what good movement around the drum set should look like. She's like water, like Bruce Lee said, be like water. She's so fluid and relaxed, and the way that you address hitting the drums and moving around the drum set, that affects the way that you sound. That affects the sound of your groove. The more relaxed you are, the better you're going to sound. And she is a beautiful example of that. She's probably the first drummer that we've had on the channel that has a few different ways that can kill you. She's Israeli, and like all Israelites, they have to be in the military for 2 years, so Miss Cohen can probably kill you and probably kick your ass, which is cool. Not a big fan of this song. It's too radio rock for me. Here, right here. When I'm teaching my double bass students, it can become very easy to want to play that double bass every time. Right here, she's playing like just straight 16th notes, and that's slow enough that you can play that with one foot. One of the songs I teach is a song by Coheed and Cambria called "Welcome Home," and there's a section in there that goes, 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and 3 E and a 4 E and I've had some double bass students come in and try to play that with 2 feet. You should have the chops in 1 foot to be able to do something like that. Yeah, man, the way that she moves the drumsticks and her relaxed. Yeah, man, she's a good drummer. Yeah, that eighth notes on the right hand and that triplet underneath there, that takes some pretty big independence. I like right there. This is another instance of what I call perceived odd time. This is in 4/4, but where she's playing that snare drum on the and right there, and then playing it on the 3 the next. You know, it's a halftime groove. She's playing the and of 2, the first measure, and on the 3 the next. It gives it this perceived odd time, but it's not. Yeah, the way, just, man, I love the way that she hits the drums. She's proof. I've had a few students over the years that they've kind of perceived themselves as being small, and they kind of try to overdo their power to kind of make up for their lack of stature. Man, she's tiny, she's little, and she plays with a lot of power. You don't have to be Danny Carey or Brand Daler, who are both like, you know, 6'4", 6'5", to get a lot of power. You know, Conor McGregor's not a big dude. He's like 5'7", 5'8", weighs 145 pounds, but he'll knock your head off. It's about technique and muscle development. The power doesn't come from the bicep. It comes from down here, and you don't have to be this gigantic person to play powerfully. I mean, Lars Ulrich isn't very big either. She's tiny. She's, you know, God, she looks maybe 5'2", 5'3", and she's getting power. You don't have to over hit to get power. And she's got a really good, whoever's running her mixing board to get these drum sounds. Her drum sound sounds great. Yeah, just too radio rock. This is a good time to start that hot take. Again, all of us, there's got to be tons of people who are going to click on this who are already Meytal fans. She rose to prominence being a cover drummer, and that's some education time, kids. I think it's so important when you're first starting out to learn other people's parts. Here's my story about that. Hunter S. Thompson is my favorite author. Hunter S. Thompson, on many interviews, said that when he was a young writer, he would type out whole Hemingway novels. He would sit down and he would read the novel and he would write it, and he would say, I wanted to reproduce those combination of words to see what it would feel like. And if you know anything about Hunter S. Thompson, you know he has a lot of Hemingway in his writing. I think that works for musicians as well, especially when you're first starting out. That's something I do with all of my students. I've got about 40 or 50 cover songs I make pretty much all of my students learn. If you're one of my students watching, you've probably played a bunch of them already. And I think it's so important when you don't really know who you are as a musician yet, and you're still working on your coordination, and you're just still working on getting to a style. Play the drum parts of the greats. Learn John Bonham songs. Learn Dave Grohl songs. Learn Neil Peart songs, and then you can take those influences, and that's what's going to make your style. You know, I always say this, and I think it was Buddy Rich who said it, a good musician doesn't get caught stealing. I can tell you where everything in my playing and all the records that I've made, I can tell you what influenced that. And I think that's so important as a beginner musician to learn covers like this, and that's what she's done, and you can see the culmination of it. She's, you know, go on her channel. She's got hundreds and hundreds of videos of her doing these just note for note perfect representations of these songs, reproductions of these tunes, and you can see where it got her. Now she has her own style. It's so important, I think, to learn covers at the beginning of your music career. That being said, like, now that I've been doing this for a while, I really don't do it anymore, but I think it's so important to start out that way. Another thing about her, she didn't start playing until she was 18. You know, she's a late bloomer. I don't know how old she is. She doesn't look very old. I mean, she hasn't been playing all that long. I had a commenter the other day, and she said, you know, she loves drums and she wishes that she would have started earlier. And I sent a comment back to her. Yeah, this song is whack, but the drums are great. But I sent a comment back to her. When she sent that comment, I was in a lesson with a 72-year-old student. It's never too late to learn. She didn't start when she was like 10 or 12. She started when she was 18, and look where she's at now. It's almost like a drum and bass groove right there. Yeah, you can just tell she's just played so many songs that it's now informed the way that she plays. Her technique is so beautiful. Ooh, yeah, man. I wish this song was better because these drums are kick-ass. Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, man, I wish this wasn't so like five-finger death punch or whatever. Because, man, this drum part's so badass. The way she stopped right there, I love that. She stopped when we do a drum fill, we go to we hit to a stop, we almost always hit the one. If you notice when she did that, she stopped on or maybe the last sextuplet before the one. It's a cool move. Yeah, always using that left foot. You know, she's not playing the hi-hat right there, but you see right there in the corner, you can see that she's, still giving herself that quarter note in the left foot. The more limbs that you have in time, the better, the more solid your time's going to be. Yeah, man. Damn, dude, she's so good. Ugh, I wish that song wasn't so bad. Meytal Cohen, she's a great example of doing it for yourself, man. She didn't stick around and hope for some A&R person to think that your band was cool enough to, make a king. She went out and did it on her own. She made her way, being a cover drummer on YouTube, and now she's got her own band and she's touring and she's doing her own stuff. That's wonderful, man. I love that. Through her channel, she was able to get endorsements and fans. Then she started a band. She got a band together, and she has fans now, and she did that her own way. As a 90s guy, which was kind of the beginning of the DIY scene, well, the 80s as well, think like Black Flag and stuff like that. But I love it. DIY. You don't need a corporate overlord to tell you that you can be famous. She did it on her own. Miss Meytal Cohen, thank you very much. You've made a lot of my lessons a lot easier over the years when students would bring in songs. She helped me with All My Life by Foo Fighters too. When students bring in stuff and I can't figure it out right off the bat, she's the first channel that I go to so I can see what part's going on. So Meytal Cohen, man, go to her YouTube channel and subscribe. So again, if y'all like that, please feel free to like, comment, and share. Give me a double tap on the subscription and the notification bell. And remember, if you want to be like Miss Cohen, you got to keep practicing until it's easy.